Welcome, everybody. You ever feel like your life is just too complicated? There's too much family drama going on. You don't know who you love sexually and who you're related to. Sometimes it's both. Welcome to the attic. It's VC's Peasies.
Series,
which is really the Dumas series. I just don't know why they do this. Like, they're only tricking us for the surname.
First surname is the name.
I know, I get it, but it's wrong. Anyways,
it's All That Glitters. It's book 3, and also glittery cover,
it's very nice. Very shiny.
Beautiful step back.
Oh yeah, there's a lot going on.
This is another step back. My prior Pearl in the Mist, it didn't have a step back.
Correct.
I mean, my edition didn't.
Mine did not either.
Okay,
correct.
So in Ruby, I would open it up and chuckle. This one too, I just. So if you don't. First of all, this is supposed to be Daphne?
I don't know. I don't know why it would be. I think maybe it's Gladys. I don't know. I don't know.
There's like an angry middle-aged white lady.
With the 80s hair.
Yeah, there's one twin is on a bed of sleeping, hand upon the breast. Another twin in a very business suity diamond coffiny necklace holding child. Paul, because his head... Bo.
Yeah.
Bo, because he's like... He's very like mooning and like... And then, like, the fucking angriest Paul taking the balls in the back, like,
he looks like David from Schitt's Creek. It's like giving me a real Dan Levy vibe.
But, like, real eyebrows. Man.
Yeah, real Dan Levy vibe. You need to watch Schitt's Creek.
Beautiful. Tina's gonna flap it, and then you're gonna tell me what you wrote for your first note.
Yeah, I will. Okay, so here we are, All That Glitters. The third book in the thrilling New Landry series. Driven from the Dumas mansion back to her beloved bayou, Ruby's only hope is that fate will let her begin anew. Ellipses. Living again in a humble shack, Ruby is determined to make a secure and happy home for her precious infant daughter Pearl. Paul Tate, her first love, whom she was forced to abandon, that is misleading, is at her side once more, now a man of dazzling wealth.
She was forced by fate, though.
She was forced by DNA.
Okay, all right.
When he whisks her into his grand house, it seems their future is assured. As mistress of Cypress Woods, Ruby can forget even the shocking reason she and Paul must wed in a secret ceremony and remain husband and wife in name alone. But the thick, expensive walls of Cypress Woods, they were thick. They talked about the walls being like 2 feet thick.
They did say that.
It's like getting distracted. It's so good. Cannot shut out the terrible memories that have woven their fabric over her destiny, or the cold eyes of Paul's mother Gladys, reminding Ruby of the secret she must keep to give Pearl a loving father. Then,
and also,
her venomous twin sister Giselle arrives to taunt her with news of Beau Andreas, the true father Pearl has never met, and the only man Ruby will ever long for with all her body and soul. Desperate to find the complete, fulfilling life she craves, Ruby builds a precarious new existence, a flimsy shanty of hope.
My entire life was a shanty of hope.
That the first flood washes away.
What?
Only when the storm exposes the very blackest evils of the past will she glimpse the rainbow's fragile promise. A morning of sunshine and laughter with a family of her own.
Well, you don't know. I definitely like rammed my face into it. Like, what?
Yeah, Katie just flumped over my shoulder.
What even?
I love that we don't read these until we record.
I think it was on the next one, Hidden Jewel. I started to get a little like, because they take a few to pick up.
I only read the prologue of the next one.
I almost flipped back to check in, but I was like, no.
So,
the only man Ruby will ever long for clitorally. So, would you like to share your first note?
My first note. Oh shit, this step back is already giving me a concern. Does Ruby die and Giselle is Pearl Mom?
So yes, they do not. I'm holding up to the laptop as though it is
not a video this time. Sorry.
Yes.
You gotta wait till tarnished gold.
It is not clear. Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So,
But I was like, it's still in first person. How is that going to work? Are they going to flip personages?
something gets flipped. But my first note is baby Pearl has cerulean blue eyes.
Of course. Also, Ruby says, she said Pearl's name came from a dream. Like in the last book, she dreamt that she had a daughter and named her Pearl. And now she's saying, like, as soon as she was born, her lustrous pearl-like skin made me think of the name Pearl.
Pearlescent birth.
I just read the last book, Niederman. Did you read the last book? Is there a ghostwriter for the ghostwriter?
Oh. Maybe he churns out like one and then like a flock of monkeys on typewriters.
No offense, Niederman. You know what I found out recently?
Oh boy.
I think maybe we talked about it in the last episode. I can't remember. He wrote The Devil's Advocate.
Yeah, I knew that.
What?
I knew that.
I like that movie very much. It is not terribly, it's not as, definitely not as convoluted as this shit. But yeah,
Yep.
that movie's great. Al Pacino, Keanu Reeves, America's sweetheart.
Paul's around all the time, and he's always like, "Here's baby stuff, chugga 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 chugga." She lives in the shack, and she's doing a grand mare. Da 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 da. She does a weave-ins.
She thinks about Beau's tempting lips when she looks at her infant daughter child. And is it just Ruby, or is Paul looking more mature? Of course he is. He's like 20 now.
People age.
She's like, I knew him when he was 5.
So I skipped right to Paul, who was like, "Let's just live together, and I'll be celibate for you."
Yeah, basically, he's like, come look at the house. And like, is it just Ruby, or does the house look bigger the closer they get to it? Of course it does.
How perspectives work.
Just like, those are 2 back-to-back notes I have. Is it just Ruby, or is Paul looking more mature? Yes. Of course he is.
Aww.
Is it just Ruby, or does the house get bigger when you get closer to it?
Yep.
Of course it does.
Yes.
They changed the spelling of gallery to gallery.
Yeah, they did. They de-Frenchified.
I know. I was like, ugh.
So Ruby's like, "Yo, we're fucking siblings."
Yep.
And he's like, "I'll be celibate for you." Progressively, they could have an open marriage.
Yeah.
Or if he's like, "I just want to support you," again, you can just cut support checks.
I know.
I
think that, like, you know, at this time, 67 or something like that, like, that would have, you know, they talk about how everyone in town thinks that Pearl's
and he
father
needs
anyways.
to do the right thing by the femininity.
Yeah, and he's like, I just want you guys to be comfortable, like, just live in my dope-ass mansion.
So much oil.
He built it for her, too, which is crazy. And he's like,
Or, creepy.
like, let's just get married, live in separate rooms. And then she's like,
Together we'll create our own monastery. It was a quote I wrote down.
What?
Ooh.
But then he also, like, we won't stand in each other's way if someone falls in love with someone else. There was a lot of, like, conflicting.
There was
We won't touch anyone or each other, but we can touch anyone we want. But it'll make each other sad, so we shouldn't do it. But we can.
I mentioned it, but we didn't really harp upon it. There's a bit about how fucking rich Paul is. Because he's like, I found extra oil. There's so many oils.
Yeah.
I got lots of oils. I got racks of oil.
His whole backyard is just oil pumps.
It's just pumping hard.
Just pumping.
He also says, I will haunt you until you say yes.
Yeah, that was cool. It's great.
Don't.
That's a good. If anyone out there has some unrequited love,
if you're ever told no, just keep asking.
yeah, and definitely make sure they know you will haunt them, because that's 1,000% what someone wants to hear when they're not interested in you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That'll make them fall in love with you.
I mean, how else is someone going to fall in love with you if you don't force them?
I honestly don't know. That's how it's happened every time for me.
Giselle writes, why does Ruby believe anything Giselle says?
I don't know, but sorry.
I don't know.
The next day though, after they get
Agree.
get engaged, I guess.
After he wears her down.
After he threatens her with ghosts.
Yes, like
He's
a
under a
sheet on a
sheet
stick.
all the
It is the South though. Wrong sheet.
But, oh, wow. Paul's father, Octavius, comes by the shack to try to bribe Ruby out of marrying Paul. And she's like, I don't want your money, but like, yes, okay, you're right. I should break it off. I got caught up in the thing. Down in front.
She says, so Octavius is like, if it's about being comfortable financially, I can help you with that. And she's like, how dare you bribe me? But it's like, pages ago, she was like, I'm only doing this for Pearl's security. So,
I know, but it wasn't just for the money. It was the fact that like Paul treated Pearl like his kid. Stop smacking.
Sorry. She literally says, I'm only doing this for Pearl's security. And then when Octavius is like, hey, if this is about security, I can support you financially. And she was like, how dare you?
I guess it's just different because she's known Paul her whole life, and Paul, like, it's like, I just want to take care of you guys. And then Octavius is like, ew, gross, let me just give you money. And she's like, no, it's not just about the money. It's about, like, growing, raising Pearl, like, with a mommy and daddy. And then Paul is very dramatic about Ruby changing her mind and says he's going to be celibate and turn his house into a shrine.
Yeah. At one point, she writes to Daphne for some money, and I was like, yeah.
She's like, can I get some early inheritance so I can just bounce out the swamp or whatever? Like, that'd be great. But she doesn't send it. She's like, I kind of hate her.
I wrote down a quote of Paul, if I can't have you, I will have nobody.
Okay.
It sounds like the same thing no matter what.
Yeah, it sounds like your choice, man. Like, but let's
before this.
Can we just make sure that we don't, like, guilt people into relationships?
Yeah, it's a theme. Not only is it a theme in these books, it's a theme for Ruby. It seems to my perception.
It's a theme of existence, especially for women.
And just the world.
Yes, disgusting. Anyways, who comes clombering to the shack?
He do come clombering.
Yeah.
Buster Trejo. He's a bearded pig man.
He is so gross. He's still wearing that inner tube under his shirt.
Now I picture like an actual inner tube he's been wearing. For
there's like a duck on the front. He's like a swan, like a whole dinosaur. Yeah, he just like he's like, I heard you came back. Like, she's been back for like over a year at this point, by the way.
I know it's the bayou and all, but like, we didn't buy women in 1965.
Maybe you did in the shack when you were very drunk all the time and don't understand what real life is.
Yeah. So she has to fight off Buster Trejo.
Yep. Luckily she was making some
Gumbalaya.
And because he's just like, it's wicked gross, and she's like, oh my god, I was so stressed out during that whole
It was a scene because he's like, put the baby down.
And like he grabbed Pearl out of her arms. And he's like,
oh,
don't worry, I know how to handle the baby. We're going to be making some for me, but you.
I handle babies all the time.
And then she's like, oh, let me just shut the, I gotta shut the stove off.
She was just like, I had to make my escape before we got to the stairs.
Yes. And she's like, shit, I gotta shut this off because the roo's bubbling over. And he's like, and then she threw hot roux in his face and runs away to Miss Thibodeau's house.
Yep.
And she's like, oh shit, seriously? And she calls the cops.
Yeah.
And for the first time in history,
the cops do the thing that they should do.
And they believe the victim. And they're like, oh my god, of course. Yeah, don't worry about it. But he's like completely trashed the shack. But by the time she gets back there,
Paul.
Nope. There's like a shit ton of neighbors already fixing it.
There's a shit ton of neighbors helping out. And Paul's like, I should have been here. I had to protect you. So she changes her mind again.
Yep. They just decide to live as weird besties in the Wonderland mansion.
Nice pestering, Paul. Nice pestering.
He's like, see that? You almost got horribly assaulted because you were alone.
Yeah. It's gonna be a quick secret marriage, but I think he mentions like a retired priest because they do talk about being Catholic. They do have an incestuous marriage, but they are Catholic. So they are siblings.
They do an elope. Paul's parents are bummed, but his sisters like kind of charge over to celebrate.
So on the way to the
elopement,
Paul's like, I got all these servants. They're all people of color. Okay. The butler's name is James Humble.
Yeah, I thought that was.
I enjoyed enough to notate. Yes, they go there, and then I feel like he says, like he's like, oh, we're so fucking rich. We're so much richer than the Dumas. Oil rich is better than real estate rich. The first night in their monastery, Paul pouts because she said no to a smoocher.
Yep.
You just laid down this whole scenario of platonic marriage. And he's like, and she's like, no.
Yep.
The pillows are like sleeping in vats of butter.
Yep. That's what she said. Yeah. Fuck. What?
My butter's not that soft, by the way.
Why would you want to sleep on butter?
Thank you.
That sounds so
I like
gross.
a firm pillow.
I also don't want grease all over my
Okay,
face.
we went different ways.
Yeah, it's not even about like the firmer softness. It's about the literal texture.
Okay.
Yeah.
They gotta hire a nanny.
And they just basically find like fucking Mary Poppins. She's
They
the
do.
most perfect nanny ever. Mrs. Fleming.
Baby Pearl is the decider of the nanny because babies always judge someone on instinct. Yeah, babies are so hard to fool. You can't trick them. They have no object permanence, but you can't trick a baby.
No, they're smarter than
The average bear.
the wizened of us all.
Left-handed love powers.
Oh right,
Oh, yeah.
The nanny was left-handed, which means that she
She
was special.
sensed the loveness of the love power love.
Giselle rose up with some fuckboys, and has a dumb afternoon.
Hang on. Okay. Where am I? It's only half incest, Paul reminds Ruby. He's like, we're only half siblings. He was like, what if we put the other half aside? She's like, fucking stop!
Yeah, she's like, you can't just do that. It's not like throwing out a shirt you don't like to wear.
Yeah, because Pearl is not into Gladys, so she's the villain. And there's that. And at one point, because they have the fam over. So Octavius and Gladys know about this incestual marriage, but his sisters do not. And at one point, Gladys is like, my adopted son. I've never said that before, but now I will say it because you are so bad.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Got some unresolved issues around that.
Oof.
Hoofa doofa.
Yeah. Okay. And then they go to Nolans for business. And she seems surprised that New Orleans is stirring up memories.
She's like, oh my god, the sights and the smells remind me that I was here before a year ago.
A little bit. It was weird. And then she's like, I'm gonna go fucking see Daphne. But then she can't.
She shows up and then she's like, ugh. She sees her getting out of a car and she's like, oh, she's actually the worst. I don't fucking care. I don't actually care.
But Paul's older sister, is it Jeannie?
I don't know. Jean?
I in my head it's a Jeannie because why wouldn't you write Jean? And it's
Because that's Jean.
okay.
I think it's Jean. I don't know. Jean.
I'll probably say both.
Okay. I don't care.
She wants to be engaged, and the man she wants to be engaged to it's not as fairy tale as Ruby and Paul.
Paul's perfect.
Ruby's like, who the fuck am I to give advice on marriage and love, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
And then I wrote, who boy Giselle arrives.
Yep. With some fuckboys.
With some fuckboys.
Yep.
I believe she's like, yeah, Daphne embezzles. LOL. Also, Brucey did a bath with me. Ha.
Yeah, she was like, yeah, whatever, I fucked. We just like, let's fuck everyone, who cares?
Uncle Jean frowny emoji. I think, yeah, Uncle Jean died? I mean, that's what I presume Uncle Jean frowny emoji means.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Because
This book was fantastic. You got no notes? What do you got?
I don't know. Like, because I was just too busy reading it, and so it all kind of got swirled together. Because it was just like, I just needed to know what the step back meant. So it was just, yeah. So, I believe she does, like,
She's like, here's all the news.
Giselle's writing Ruby from France and being an asshole, and then she also hears that Uncle Jean dies. And then Paul's like, hey, I'm gonna cheer you up, don't you worry.
Don't you worry. She's like, whatever. And then he's like,
I'm William. I'm William Tate, the
I'm William.
Confederate soldier.
He's in a Confederate costume and gives her like a Confederate lady costume. And she's like, oh, yeah. Because again, he's like, don't be sad. Don't be sad. Have no grief. Here, cheer up. Have a Civil War costume. And Ruby gets all het up over this Civil War like cosplay dinner. I think they're outside or whatever. Da 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 da. And she's like, I really was a Civil War lady with my Civil War man going to the Civil War.
Stop touching me. She's touching me. Stop touching me.
Yes, it's very magical. And then also he comes a knocking, and
She like goes to bed, and she's like, thanks, I do feel better. Good night.
And then he's like, and she was like, oh God, I wish I could fuck someone. It's normal, fine. She wishes for a physical touch on her clitoral zone. And
in her all that clitters.
In her clitter dam. So he like comes back in, and she's like, Paul, no. And he's like, I'm William. I'm a Civil War man. And she says no as he enters her.
Yeah, that was...
That's more questionable than all the questions we've had asked but not answered.
I didn't...
You're pulling a pursed lip face here.
Like, what the fuck? Because he's like, I'm not Paul, I'm William. And then she's like, okay, William, fine. No. And then he's just like... Boosh. Yeah, it didn't... I don't even...
And then she was like, sit.
I don't think she was like... I don't know. I was so...
Wow, you were upset by that?
Yes, I was upset by that.
All things that happened.
Yeah, there's like an incest Confederate cosplay date is not okay.
Oh, fine. And then the next morning, he was like, I don't know what you dreamed.
Yeah, well, and then there's a gaslight. I don't know. I just didn't...
It must have been a crazy dream you had.
And then she's like, you know what I should do? Paint a series about
Civil War soldiers fucking
and being something.
It's basically like a manga of Civil War fucking.
Yeah. Yep.
Giselle writes, because she goes to France and sees Beau, and she's like, Beau's falling in love with me. Yep. He says, I'm mature.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. And then they get news about Daphne. She's riding a horse and
fucking dies.
Falls off and cracks her head. And she dies. And then Bruce is like...
Nobody cares about Bruce. He has notated he's a wet noodle.
Yeah, he's so butthurt. He's like, I know
I have lawyers.
We had a prenup, but like, that's bullshit. Don't fucking sign that prenup.
I got lawyers. Mm-hmm. Good ones.
Didn't like it.
For some reason, I was under the impression Beau did not know about the pregnancy.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know.
That's why his parents sent him off. They were like, you knocked up a girl, you're going to Europe.
And a Cajun one at that.
Yeah.
Okay. No one cares about Bruce at the wake, and he's like, well, I've served my purpose. Like, what was your purpose? Dicking Daphne?
I guess not even. I guess they weren't even like that. It was just about, they talk about how they weren't even, like, they had separate rooms and stuff. It was just about, like, to scheme money out of Pierre while he was still alive, and then they got married so that, like, Bruce would keep his mouth shut and got just kind of, like, live the high life for a hot minute.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Beau finally comes in with the honesty. He's like, look, I'm only with Giselle so I can pretend that she's you.
Yeah. It's...
Then they elope.
Elope?
Giselle and Paul?
Oh,
No, Giselle and Beau.
Yes.
Paul's all put out because he couldn't buy Ruby's love. She's like, obviously sad about it. And he's like, what? Am I not buying you enough things to buy your love?
I know, he keeps going back and forth with being like, I totally get it, that's fine. Like, I sense all your emotions, to just like, how come when you said that you wouldn't love me because we're related, you were telling the truth?
Yeah. And she does a whole series of Civil War paintings that are sad, and after he looks at them, Paul theorizes that perhaps it was wrong to force Ruby to marry him.
I don't know, it's
weird. Whoa, man.
Again, blowing my mind out of the water here.
Yeah.
Giselle and Beau come visit Cyprus. Cyprus, whatever. Cyprus Woods. I couldn't remember the time.
Cyprus.
And Beau gets to see Pearl for the first time, and he's like, oh.
Yeah.
Apparently she's like all fanciful at him.
Mrs. Fleming, with her left-handed love powers, senses that Beau is special. Mm. She's like, you must be a special man. This child loves you. She loves nobody but you. You must be special. As an empath, I'm getting a vibe that this child is your child.
I'm left-handed too, and I can immediately tell when people love each other.
Yeah. Nope. Big honkin' woof. on Bo explaining in great fucking detail how much he pictures Ruby when he's with Giselle.
Yep.
Like, it a lot.
I even got her to wear your perfume.
Thanks, Philip.
Yeah, thanks, Philip.
Big Philip move.
Oh, not even before. Tony. Tony.
That's a tatter tip.
That's a tatter tip. That's a tatter trait.
Okay, there we go.
Traitorton.
Yeah. Bo has secured a pied de terre for a little tete-a-tete.
He's like, we should go do a fuckins announce.
He was like, here, take this paper. And she was like, it's a baby. It's like, it's an address. I've secured an apartment for some fuck times.
Yep.
For singular fuck times.
And then Paul's like, I gotta go to Texas for a thing. And she's
wait, hang on.
What?
For some reason, I wrote Bruce got what was coming to him. Like, Bruce was nefarious in some capacity.
Yeah.
Whatever. There's a swamp tour, there's wine talk, and there's cordials. Like, they're just getting a little hammed. Yeah, because they take Giselle out in the swamp.
Yeah.
They're
That's
still
all the
there.
same time, yeah.
Ga. And then Ruby notes she's in an Eiffel Tower bedroom situation. She's like, a man's on either side of me. Thank you. They high five over her bedroom to make the Eiffel Tower.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Yeah. Bo slips Ruby a note with the address. And for someone who pledged monastic living, Paul talks about wanting to fuck all the time.
Yeah, he really does.
So they leave, and she's got the note with the address on it. And she can't bring herself to throw it away.
Nope.
She's like, I need to get rid of it. I just, you know what? I'm here, and this is wrong. But I couldn't. I put it away. I couldn't throw it away. She gonna do it.
Yep.
This is how she do it.
This is how she do it.
Fucking on the side.
This is how she do it.
Okay.
So Paul's like, I gotta go to Texas for some oil dealings.
Some business.
You wanna come with me and stuff? And then Ruby's like, oh no, I was actually gonna go to Dominique's and bring the Confederate series. So like, we're gonna like spend the night. And he's like, you gonna stay at Giselle's house? She's like, oh no, I'd rather not do that. And he's like, good idea. But you know, she goes to just does a bunch of fuckings with Bo, and they have like a nice date and stuff.
Sure.
And
Honestly, they could just break off their respective relationships.
they should.
I think at one point later on, it's mentioned that they're Catholic and they can't
There's
divorce.
like too much. Yeah, there's too much religion going on.
the-
That only gets mentioned.
in the context of not being an incestuous marriage.
Yeah, like how this is a convenient plot. No, it's not. That is not a convenient plot device. That makes no sense.
Bo was like, oh my god, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that, and Ruby's like, oh, this on the DO.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, fine.
And then she's like, okay, cool, I gotta go home. And like as soon as she gets there,
How the fuck old is Pearl in this? Because at this point, when she gets home, Pearl is coloring with crayons in her playpen.
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
This baby age is wildly all over the place.
It really is. And like I remember earlier in the book, like something happened. Like she said that she had been back at the bayou for almost a year, but Pearl was like 8 months old. She had said at the same time, which is like that's impossible. Because she came back to the bayou the day she found out she was pregnant. It takes 9 months for that, and then if Pearl is 18 months. This is being at the bayou for almost 2 years, not almost a year.
Oh, I almost forgot. We almost forgot. A very major plot point. When Ruby goes back to the hotel after doing her fuckins, she was like, I checked for messages, but it looked like there were none. Great. And then when they return, Paul's like, I mean, I wasn't checking on you, but you definitely weren't there when I called.
Yeah.
And Ruby just fucking comes clean.
Yeah.
She was like, yeah, I was fucking someone else.
She's like, yeah, it was me and Bo. I went there I was with Bo. And then he's like, what? Why him?
I'm so confused.
I can't believe you did this to me. And she was like, yeah, but like you do get that we can't have a physical, me and you. And like, that's not fair to either of us. And he is the father of...
What does he have that I don't have? Why this guy?
Different DNA is what he has.
Different parents. Different parents.
Different fathers. Oh, mothers.
Mothers.
Different mothers.
So they kind of whatever. Ruby wonders if she and Paul will just work tirelessly until they're old and gray in rockers. While she's like 20 years old? Question mark. She's like, maybe we'll just do this forever until we are old and gray.
Whatever. Miss Fleming has to leave because her daughter was in a bad car accident in England.
How convenient.
Yeah, sounds super convenient. You're so mean.
Bo calls from the ranch. Sorry, it's okay. You go. Ironically, Giselle's paralyzed again. But for real this time.
So the step back is because a herpes mosquito bit Giselle, and now she's paralyzed and delirious.
With encephalitis of some type.
Yeah, Ruby is going to pretend she's Giselle so she can be married to Bo, and Giselle's going to be bedridden at Cypress Woods. And I wrote, but she healed before, so why can't she do it again?
Yeah, encephalitis mush brain.
You guys, let me know if you guys can hear my cat running around.
She's squirreling.
My cat Bijou is being foolish, galloping.
Skitter-ditter. She's doing a skitter-ditter. And then I wrote switcheroo in all caps.
So also, I was like, immediately after this plan, because Paul was like, oh yeah, no,
he was
bring her here.
creepily helpful.
Yeah, I was like, ew, is Paul gonna like do a sex at incapacitated Giselle because he can't have Ruby?
They never say that, but that immediately makes me think that he probably did.
I don't know, because I was just like, I immediately went to like subplot of like bedridden pregnant Giselle.
That would have been awesome.
I know. Let me write these.
Secret institution, Paul creepily helpful.
So, like, riddle me this.
Riddle.
So, they go to, like, hang out. They're like, oh, we're just going to go visit
That's
Giselle,
the story.
Giselle
the story is like, we're going to
Bo.
go to the ranch. And then that's where the accident will happen then. And then it will have happened to Ruby.
Correct. But they, like, get there and, like, it's just like, like, they go upstairs, grab Giselle, put her in the car, leave. So everyone at Cypress Woods just believed that Ruby got coma sick the second she got to the ranch.
Correct, Mundo.
Oh, like,
yep.
Like, this happened. It was a very busy day. There's just like a 4-hour thing. Like, she got out of the car, got bit by a mosquito, immediately went into a coma.
Yep.
With no doctors.
That's how it happen.
Oh,
There's a great point because Ruby's like, how? She's like, well, at some point in this farce, Pearl will think that she should call me auntie instead of mom. Like, and then I wrote, why don't they for real just up and move somewhere else?
Yeah, and they talk about that
later on, and I felt very validated.
Good for you. You should
just go somewhere else. Just move to wherever Chris and Kathy moved in California. That's where all the secrets go.
Where the mist is. Put Pearl in the mist.
That's Bayou Mist.
No, I know, but there was fog.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember because it was like a San Diego.
San Diego.
San Francisco.
San Francisco. Paul, I know you'll be back.
Yeah.
Giselle. They say that Giselle just goes in and out of a coma. Yeah. Isn't that just napping?
No.
Just in and out of comas.
Yeah.
That's not a coma, is it not?
I think you can. Go ahead. Yeah, you can be in and out of a coma.
If you're in a coma, can you write in and let me know?
Like when you're out of it, be like, yes, I was just there. Oh, no.
The same night they're there, Bo's like, let's go the fuck out to dinner. Here are Giselle's clothes. She did dress sluttier than you, FYI. Get your tits out.
I had a problem with...
Oh, you had a... What?
Oh, that's like the last note that I actually wrote. So they go out to dinner. They go out to dinner. And she's just like, I wore this strapless number, and like it was more cleavage than I wanted to do, whatever, and I just acted like an asshole at dinner, and like no one really guessed anything. And I was just like, oh yeah, my sister, how boring, she's in a coma. Oh. But then they get back, and somehow Bo peels a strapless dress off Ruby's arms. How? She talked about it being a strapless fucking dress. And then when he's taking it off from her, he's peeling it down her arms. There are no arms in a strapless dress. Maybe it was an armed strapless dress, actually. Mm-hmm. But I don't... Stop it! Stop! This was 2 days later.
Wow, you
That was it.
Great. I'm just going to say what I wrote and you just chime in.
Okay.
Let's see. They instantly go out to dinner. Giselle's sluttier dresser. There's... Okay, I don't know what this means. A window smooching affair man.
What? Oh! So, Ruby's up in the studio.
That's right.
And this guy comes in.
He's
this
like,
curly-haired
"Oh,
hobbit
yeah."
man comes to like try to fuck her, and she's like, "No, go away." And then
He's like,
and then
"Oh, you're
he
fucking
says
coming
something
out."
that spoiler does not come back. You know what I'm gonna say? He's like, "I remember when you squealed when I kissed that birthmark under your breast."
Yeah, I thought that was gonna
What?
come back.
But-
Yeah, that would have been great for later times.
Dude, do
And-
a planogram, Nearman.
And then Bo was like, "Oh yeah, I know. Sorry, I should have told you. Sorry."
I didn't think they'd be coming back that quick.
They go to see Bo's parents. Bo's father is wearing a white dinner jacket and a black silk ascot.
Yeah, he sounds awesome.
Apparently, I just write everyone's outfit.
I like that. It
no-
seems like a Panama Jack to me.
Notated Bo's mother's gained a little weight. The Andrea's rents are like Cajun this, Cajun that, blah 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 blah, Cajun. It's been 2 days, but we're getting away. He's like, we're getting away with it. It's been 2 days.
Yep. Well, trick me once, trick me forever, I guess.
You can do a reading
No, it's not till
later.
But just so you, dear listener, knows, I don't have any more notes written down, but I do have sections of
Many bookmarks.
sections of Reese's wrappers that I tore off and then stuck in the book where there were
Reese's?
typos. No, I did. It was like the bar with the nuts in it. It's real good.
Ooh, oh, a nice nutty
bar.
chomp.
Yep.
Giselle's even worse than we thought, which Paul's pissed about. He's like,
He's like, I can't believe, like, he just really thought that, like, he's clearly deliriously.
yes,
like,
I wrote, Paul's doing a little cray-cray.
Yeah, like, it's sad, but also,
Fuck that.
Ruby has been telling you for years, no, she does not want to be in a.
Incest relationship.
Yeah, and you kind of gave her, like, I really am upset about that whole night that he did a sex at her because she was not in the right headspace. That was not enthusiastic consent.
Yeah.
At all. Because they didn't even say, she was like, we just, like, got a rhythm and then we were done. Like, I don't know. I hated that so much. Don't fucking do that to people.
Paul's sister, Toby. So there's Jeannie, who's nice. Jean. And Toby, who's a sass bucket. So sister Toby is like, all Paul does is be depressed about his very ill wife. I roll.
She's always smirking.
Yeah, and Paul's like, well, it looks like this is what fate wanted. Yeah, you coerced your half-sibling into a sexless marriage.
Yep.
That, good. Fate did a good one that way.
And then you said, oh, I'll do you one better and bring her here. Because if she's supposed to be you, of course she'd be here. And then he's like, I can't believe this is happening to me.
He starts doing like a wicked hot pretend.
Yeah, that was... He's talking to Ruby and being like, oh, is this what you wanted, Giselle? You don't even know how your sister was. You never met her grandmère Catherine. Giselle.
You and your garden district and she in the swamp where we live together. So they go to Bo and quote-unquote Giselle / Ruby go to visit Ruby / Giselle in the hospital. And so they go to the hospital. The nurse is like, I've never seen such identical twins. She's like, oh, you just look so much alike. You've never heard of identical twins?
No.
Ruby leaves her voodoo charms with Giselle. Weeks pass, and Ruby is really starting to wonder about this complex situation. She's like, I hate being Giselle.
Yeah, it sucks. But she does kind of like that she doesn't have to talk to Giselle's friends, though.
She was just extra rude, and they were like, meh. And whereas, like, real Giselle would have been like, why are you mad at me? She's like, fine, great, don't call me.
She was like, what a handy thing that my sister, is in the hospital, so now I can use that as an excuse.
This was the part where I noted that her plan was, Ruby said that her plan was eventually to move far away. So I'm glad she's taking my advice.
Yes, there we are.
A drunken Bruce rolls in and
Yep.
figures it out.
Ha-ha! There's my typo note,
Love
page
Ruby.
252 in the
Thing.
the mass market here. His dark brown hair was flecked with gray, the temples all gray, and there were dark sacs under his eyes. There, spelled T-H-E-I-R. There were dark sacs.
Right.
Not there. There. The wrong there.
It's
The wrong fucking there. Why are there so many typos? There.
Paul spends time at the shack. Yeah, he goes to the shack a lot and just shacks it up.
He's like sleeping on the floor, being like, ah.
Remember the simple times when I was feeling on my sister Bresm?
My breasms.
Lewis returns. He still has a sensual mouth and a Roman nose, and I wondered if all noses are Roman.
I think they are.
Great.
Bo's was.
It's Bo's dad.
Oh, yeah.
Sensual mouth. Does he really knows it's Ruby?
Yeah, absolutely.
Lewis does? Okay. They decide to go to his concert, and Ruby looks so elegant. Not like Giselle at all.
No, she's like, people will be so shocked that I'm stuff.
He plays the symphony. Real Giselle / fake Ruby takes a turn for the worse.
Yeah.
And dies. And then Ruby's like, wow, it's really weird them all thinking that I'm dead. And Bo's like, who cares? And then Ruby attends her own funeral.
Oh, man, I'm sorry. There's like... Oh
yeah,
no, there was an inconsistency about when Lewis showed up. Sorry.
Okay, I could see you like trying to figure out where I was.
Lewis, a man in his 20s, had become blind when he was still a young boy. He was 31 in the last book. Thank you.
And there we go.
And there we go. Giselle dies.
Yeah, and Ruby attends her own funeral. Yeah.
I don't know. There was just... Oh, yeah. After I cradled the phone, I sat back on the bed. I felt as if all my blood had drained down to my feet. I chalked back a sob.
Chalk it.
Not choked.
I see it.
Chalked. CHOCKED. Not even like chalked it up to sobbing, but chalked. Yeah.
I questioned why Paul's mom was so nasty to Ruby / fake Giselle. And I said, oh, she knows and would like a vengeance, please.
Yep.
One vengeance.
Could I please have...
check, please. One vengeance.
One vengeance.
You know, it's really hard, and Ruby's like, I just went to my funeral, and Bo wonders if he really should have thought this whole switcheroo thing through.
Yeah, he's like,
this is a fucking complicated thing, because now we have this thing happening. Yeah, Paul goes missing. He is full of the mornings for Ruby, which whether he's fully crazy or just, whatever. So both.
Well, I mean, I guess it was like that was the death of any sort of idea of a relationship he thought he could have with her as well. Like, he was really delusional in the fact that he just wholeheartedly was like, nope, since I love her this much, like, she's gonna end up loving me this much, and...
Yeah. And again,
DNA shmna.
Bo was like, oh man, this is complicated, huh? Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
So they can't find Paul. Paul goes missing. It's the nighttime, and Ruby's like, I will lead the boats to the secret swamp world. And they're like, how do you... And she's like, I mean, my sister Ruby told me. And it was so much like, turn here at this curtain of Spanish moss, said Ruby to me, I'm Giselle. Like a lot of that.
No, it's like the one time I ever listened to her. I listened to these directions. These very, very complicated
very
directions.
Specific. Paul's body.
Oh yeah, it's just like floating.
He like hucked himself into the water and drowned,
or it like flipped over. I don't know. So, they don't really know. All they know is that he was in the water. He pulled himself out a little bit. Because, like, the coroner was like, I've never seen someone with so much water in their lungs climb out of the swamp a little bit.
Like a little fucking bit. Like a tit.
It's really what he said.
Yeah. That is a direct quote. That was confusing about life. Ruby was, like, feels guilty, but Paul 100 used Ruby's niceness to get, like, a facade of what he wanted.
Paul did?
Paul did, yeah. He manipulated her into, and so don't feel guilty, ho.
Well, I mean, come on. Of course, she's... Grief. This is someone she's known since she was, like, forever.
What is Mother Tate's revengeance?
Oh, fuck, yeah, Gladys is just like... She, like, a while ago was just like, I fucking know that that's not you.
Paul told me everything. He confided in me, and I bet you didn't think he would tell his mother everything.
And maybe there was, like, weirdness going on. They talk about, like, a stronger relationship, like, Anyways, it sounded like a little bit like Snuggy Louie mom. Anyways.
Ew. Ew.
So they go back home and like, all right, well, this is it, I guess. And then the police show up and they're like, oh, hey. Or no, like a lawyer shows up.
He's like, I'm here to collect the
Toby
child.
calls or Jean calls? Jeannie?
Someone calls.
One of the
about
sisters
the
calls
child.
and
They're
is just like,
well,
so-
they were like, both of this child's parents are dead, so she needs to go to her grandparents. I mean, who could have seen this coming a mile away?
And Ruby's like, no! And then Bo's like, it's fine, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be fucking fine. It's not fucking fine.
It's not fucking fine. They come back the next day with like a police
With
and
a police
court order.
and they take Pearl, and it's very sad because she's like, I saw her pressing her little face
Yes,
in the back of
this
the
baby
window.
baby presses the face up against the car window.
Well, because she was coloring and she said like, look, mommy, like because she was I don't know.
Yeah.
All I know is that by the end of the book she was 4.
Okay, yeah.
So I don't.
For sure.
Who fucking knows?
There was no DNA test back then, but was there a blood test? Can they do like a Punnett square?
They said. Bo said the only test would prove that we could do would prove that I wasn't the father. That makes 0 sense. And all this time I'm like waiting for her to be like, oh, hold on, that fucking boyfriend.
Birthmark.
Yeah, the birthmark. They were like, yeah, even though she was paralyzed for a while, like, there's no way to say that the x-rays wouldn't be you.
At one point, when they come back for like, someone comes back with the baby, and it was notated, Bo went up to the bathroom, fetch him for me, and I was like, man's taking a shit, leave him alone.
I thought you said it was in the bedroom.
I thought it was
It's just upstairs.
He's upstairs. And then Bo, they have a lawyer. And Bo was like, can we compare? He was like, well, Ruby had a child and Giselle didn't. So let's compare birth canals. And the lawyer's like, first of all, you gotta exhume a body. Second of all, you can say for under oath 100% certainty Giselle never, had a baby there. He's like, fuck! Yes, and then I said, Bruce mentioned that birthmark under Giselle's breast.
It wasn't Bruce, it was the other guy.
Whatever.
It was the boyfriend.
Someone. I feel like it was Bruce.
It wasn't, I promise. Because he yelled, he was like, all right, of course you're...
All right,
I'm leaving. I'll never forget about your squealy tit. And then just hopped back out the window and scurried away.
Squirrely tit.
Yeah.
It was mentioned many pages ago. Gladys Tate has, a reverse Oedipus.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
There's another stern, no-noise judge. Octavius has... For some reason, my autocorrect kept all capsing Octavius.
Octavius!
Because it was
Nice.
Look at the Transformer. Octavius has to tell Gladys to chill. Her artistic talent is not to be allowed into evidence.
I think that's kind of bullshit.
Can you prove beyond reasonable doubt that Giselle did not have artistic talent?
I think that they were just way less character witnesses than
One would think.
I thought. Because there's so
But
much.
no one knew!
But the thing is, she could have, put her... They could have had, her grandmother's friends on the stand and had them be like, all right, ask a question that only Ruby would
Okay.
know the answer to. There were so many
I feel
different...
like it was noted that all of Grandma's friends were dead.
They were there. She saw Miss Thibodeau after the trial.
Alright.
I stopped writing notes, but yet I remember more than you. Okay.
There's a
They were
surprise
not dead.
witness.
She talked about she saw them in the crowd multiple times. Anyways, okay.
There was a surprise witness.
Bruce
It was rock
Bombtrotter.
and roll, Brucey Poo. I feel like I'm not a lawyer.
No?
No.
What the fuck?
Sorry for all those times I represented you. I feel like attorneys get some loans to prep for a surprise witness, by the by.
Usually, maybe not in 1960.
Yeah, it's a fast one from. Ruby, she will not come out with that Paul's parentage secret.
She doesn't want to.
Amongst this no-nonsense, no-noise judge, Ruby has 7,000 outbursts.
3.
There are so many.
There's 3. So dramatic.
She was very dramatic. So
You're not a lawyer. You don't know how to count outbursts.
yeah.
Outbursts.
And they're furiously, Bo and Ruby are furiously scribbling notes to their lawyer and gotta fucking, and I feel like she and Octavius lock eyes and she's like, and he's like, oh, okay. And they call Octavius to the stand. They're like, give him a list of whatever. And the lawyer's like, who is Paul Tate's mother? And there's like a very tense moment. And Ruby's like, you gotta tell him the truth. You gotta.
For Paul's sake, tell the truth, Octavius.
Octavius. And he do be that.
And then gasps.
Gasps. Da-da-da-da-da. And then I feel like they had to like, the lawyers were called into chambers. Mm-hmm. And then their lawyer comes out and he's like, I don't know what's happening, but he wants to talk to you. And then he's like, invite me to your wedding.
He's like,
beautiful couple.
Yeah, he's like, well, I expect a wedding invite. Like, how did that coming out, like, for some reason made them 100% believe that Ruby was Giselle? Or whatever. But why?
I think, because maybe, it gave a reason for, I don't know.
Oh, because then Octavius could say for sure, like, no, that isn't.
Is not.
Yeah.
Okay,
fair.
great.
Yeah, okay. We got there.
She's not, a deformed baby. So not a product of incense.
Incense. And peppermints.
Pearl, whom I still don't know the age, cries out, Mommy!
Yeah.
And I'm so fucking
I don't know, 2? 3? It doesn't make sense.
Is this a quote? Time is the best vacuum cleaner?
Yes, that is a quote from the book. Time is the best vacuum cleaner.
It, like, sucks out your brains.
In my apartment, I've noticed that time is the best thing that leaves dust on everything.
Like an inverse vacuum. A blower.
Yeah, just a lever of dust. Time is a lever of dust.
In the brains.
No, it's on my accoutrement, my knickknacks.
You dusty.
I have dusty knickknacks, yeah.
Yeah. Ruby prophetically paints a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
And then
the next day or something. Nina comes to visit her, too. Oh, when she's, like, super heavy, pregnant.
When she's heavy with child.
Heavy with child.
Head of a uterus.
Also, Niederman, don't make people of color talk like that.
It's the black scent.
Yeah. Like, Nina be getting old now. Stop it. Fucking stop.
Okay. All right. After all that labor, my water finally broke.
Yeah.
That is opposite.
Yeah.
You don't go
it goes-
into
it
labor
goes
until
first.
the water breaks.
Well, you can be in labor without your water
Sure, you're right.
breaking, but, like, that's not...
Factually accurate. And then the baby was born, and it was boy twins.
Yeah. She had a baby, and then she was like, ah. They're like, it's a boy. And they're like, hold on a minute. I may have suspected this was happening as a doctor, but I did not tell you to maybe be
Surprise.
aware. Like, I thought maybe one twin was over the other twin and hiding that twin's heartbeat. And they have named the twins.
Oh, I hate it. I actually hate it. Pierre and Jean.
Yeah, after her dad and uncle.
I kind of hate that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
The end?
Yeah.
That was it. She was just like, they're gonna fucking love each other as twins. And Pearl is a good older sister. Pearl is 4 when the twins are born.
I mean, they don't say how long she was in the time vacuum cleaner.
No, but they did, like, Paul was 4 when the twins... No, Pearl. That was so hard for me to read, too.
Paul
and Pearl, like, there's, like, only 1 letter difference.
Based upon my
2.
my retelling, I kept confusing Bo and Paul.
I mean, same.
Too many men's.
Oh,
Oh, Ruby.
no. Ruby.
Ruby, Roo. Where are you? You got a lot of dicks now.
Not really that many dicks.
I mean, one that she really wanted.
1 forever, and then 1 secret cosplay Confederate incest dick.
Oh, yeah. I feel like the listener is not getting how long and protracted this whole, like...
Long and protracted.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a protractor. Because she was like, it was like I heard the cannons in the distance. And our soldiers, and it was the fireflies were out, and was he Paul or was he William Paul Tate of the Confederacy, man, and I'm in my Confederacy dress.
And I'm just glazing over this because I'm like, can we please not fucking romanticize the fucking Confederacy here? Like, get out of town.
And then it happened.
Ugh. Anyways, so
that happened.
next book is Hidden Jewel.
Again, that sounds pretty clitoral.
I know. We got Pearl in the Mist, all that clitters, Hidden Jewel. This one's gonna be. I mean, I've only read the prologue, but before even doing that, I knew that it was gonna be from Pearl's point of view because that is the trope.
Yep.
Only Dollenganger series so far has done like protagonist, children, protagonist, flashback, or prequel. All the rest of them have been protagonist, child, prequel.
Well, let's think about this. Dollengangers lived to be the ancient ages of 50 and 52. Having died, Dawn died.
Oh, yeah.
No spoilers.
Right. Huh.
Yeah.
I guess, they can't really go back and have one from that point of view.
I mean, I would like that. I enjoyed weathered old 50-year-old Kathy.
Ancient, decrepit.
With her wrinkled flaps.
Everything was tight still. Tight! Everything was tight.
Yeah. Fucking Chris's old balls.
Anyways, yeah. So far, though, I have enjoyed reading the Landry series.
Yeah, it's great. It's wild.
It is wild, and there were a lot of very busy days.
Yeah,
very busy days.
Upon review, it's like, wait a minute. Like, when you start thinking about all the different things that happen, you're like,
the plot points.
Hold up. And then the next one, you're like, wait a minute.
So many.
And then you had a light lunch. And then...
Death.
Yeah. Exactly.
Afternoon tea.
Yeah. And then you go have a whole nother wild fuckings on someone.
And this is where we leave you.
Fucking.
See you in a couple of weeks.
Bye. Thanks for listening to the VC Species podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Technical support was provided by Boo and Matt. Thanks for answering all of my stupid questions.
Video wizardry provided by Colburn. Thanks for taking on our very special projects. Music is Dust in My Attic by Broke MC, used under Creative Commons license.
Email us at vcspeciespodcast@gmail.com with your thoughts or comments.
You can also follow us on Instagram. We are at VC Podcast.
New episodes are released every other Friday to give you time to read along. In the meantime, take a seat on the gallery. Ignore your spoiled sister.
And entertain me.